This current administration is doing nothing but walking into gun stores, mom and pop gun stores, going after the simple little small minor paperwork errors that people are making and trying to shut those gun stores down permanently who've been in existence for decades. And what we're doing is by bringing this lawsuit, we're saying, you know what, you need to stop that. What Congress says this is what you're supposed to do. There are a set of laws there and they should follow those laws, not step outside those boundaries. And so we're trying to put them back in those boundaries and say this is enough. It's impossible for anyone to do what we do and not make any mistakes at all. You get people that walk into the gun store to fill out a 4473, which is the firearms transaction record. There's 100 ways a person can mess up this form, if not more than that. There are 100 different inputs that you actually put on the form. Even customers make mistakes when it comes to their name, their middle name or their first name. They reverse it. On that little box that says county, they put country. That does not mean that that person is going to get handed a firearm and they're not supposed to. They're not a prohibited person. And so their license should not get revoked just for that simple little minor mistake. I'm actually getting phone calls from gun stores all around the country, as far as like Oregon, as close as Houston. You're talking mom and pop gun stores. Grandparents, great-grandparents have owned this store, and all of a sudden now, ATF comes in and inspect them, find a little paperwork error. Maybe they've made the same type of error because they didn't catch it themselves, and they're wanting to shut them down. And this is the only way that I can help them is by filing a lawsuit, kind of being on the offensive instead of the defensive. I think we're assisting all the gun stores in the country in getting the ATF back into the box it need to be put back into. I'm so grateful that I was able to sit down and talk with TPPF. This organization is the one organization that I thought would actually stand up for Texans and stand up for all Americans in the United States and fight the federal government when they're overstepping their bounds.
Your business is going to have technical problems. There's no question about it. Pacific Office Automation is your guide because problem solving is our passion. Every business is unique, no matter how big or how small the problem. From copiers and printers, telephone systems, managed IT, print services, and more, we offer integrated, streamlined office solutions to keep your office humming. With Pacific Office Automation, it's problem solved. Visit pacificoffice.com today to find out more.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, "I invoke my right to remain silent," and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings, because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs, but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights, and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent, and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, I'm going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Good day, Austin, Texas, live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. All right, so first, I want to talk about a couple things. I want to talk about the fact that the ATF is walking into gun stores around the country and shutting them down, doing surprise inspections and just shutting the whole thing down. Also, you know what I want to talk about? We actually had a victory this past week. So the ATF actually tried to get our case, that is the Central Texas Gun Works, a Michael Cargill case against the ATF. They tried to get that case actually shut down, try to get it dropped or dismissed, and that's the case where they're actually going to different gun stores around the country and they're shutting them down. So they tried to get it dropped or dismissed, and we were actually successful in fighting them off. They were using a couple different things, using the fact that they walked into Central Texas Gun Works, did a surprise inspection, and the fact that we did good in our inspection. They're saying, hey, There's nothing there. This guy has no case, no merit of the case. We need to go ahead and drop it, dismiss. But one thing they forgot to mention is the fact that they actually walked into the gun store without notifying our attorney. And so being that we actually have a case against the ATF, they should have notified my attorney that they're actually going to pretty much discuss the case. It's almost like doing a deposition when you're deposing someone and there's a lawsuit, there's a case that's going on, you want to talk to the other side, there's like a deposition in order to discuss the different things. And those different things were actually inspection, the actual inspection, walk into the gun store. And part of that process is they come in unannounced without saying, without notifying you ahead of time and saying that, hey, by the way, we're from the ATF and we're here to do an audit on you. Want to inspect everything. So they come in, we have to pull out all the guns, pull everything out. We have to make sure that every gun that we have on our books is actually here and accounted for, make, model, serial number, and everything. So we pull everything out and they go through everything. And so you're talking, 800 different firearms that we actually have here. So we have to make sure everything was here and accounted for. And then once they do that, which that takes like a day and a half, they then go through all the different 4473s. They want to go through every single transaction to make sure that all the transactions we've done in the previous year, they go back exactly 1 year, which is almost 13,000 transactions to make sure that the paperwork is correct. The 4473 is that firearm transaction record. So the information that the customers fill out when they walk into the gun store, their name, their address, all that information, everything about the gun and the background check is actually on that form. And so they want to make sure that we've dotted our I's, we crossed our T's. And some of the mistakes that we actually made was, we're talking like 13,000 transactions. So one or two mistakes was the fact that two customers spelled Austin, Texas wrong. They spelled Austin wrong, spelled it like autism or something like that. We had a situation where a customer didn't put the city that they were born in. They put the state, but not the city. So, and that's something that we missed. Another case of a customer walked into the gun store, picked up a firearm, filled out the 4473. We did a background check on them. And then they decided to leave the gun with us to do gunsmithing. And we did not log it back into the book, once they left it with us. So they did the background check. They passed the background check, but we forgot to log it back in. And that was just, honestly, and that was the week that they walked into the door with everything that's going on, us pulling out guns, trying to give them what they needed, all that was going on. And we're still dealing with customers while they're doing their inspection, and we missed that while they were here. So just, one of those things. And those are some of the things that, we actually missed. But those are not some of the things that actually get you shut down as a federal firearms licensed dealer. So some of the things that will revoke your license as a federal firearms licensed dealer is if you transfer a firearm to a prohibited person, if you fail to conduct a required background check, if you falsify records such as a firearm transaction form, or failing to respond to a trace request. A trace request is when the National Tracing System, the FBI, the NICS, they contact you as the gun dealer. They say, hey, we have recovered a gun. We found a gun that actually was used in a crime or stolen or something like that, and we need to get the information on that firearm, who the firearm was transferred to, and all that stuff. And so they contact us, and we have anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to actually give them that information. So that's a firearms trace. And then refusing to permit the ATF from conducting their inspection. So when they walk to the gun store unannounced, you have to let them come in. You can't refuse to say, hey, no, you can't come in or whatever. You have to let them in. They do what they got to do, and there's nothing that we can do. So those are some of the things they look for when they walk in the gun store. So in the end, our inspection started the week before the 4th of July. And so we finally finished our inspection. They gave us a bill of health. We got like 9%. We did good. And they finally told us on Friday, this past Friday, after a 3-hour meeting, 3 hours, with my 3 attorneys, sitting down, discussing point by point, everything of, what we're expected to do as a federal firearms license dealer and the things that we did wrong, which we didn't do anything wrong. And that's a 3-hour meeting to say we did a great job. So we'll see if they come back later on down the road and try to revoke our license, because I've heard of this happening before. Around the country, there's a gun store that's located in the northern part of the United States called the Morehouse Enterprises. They actually walked into their gun store, did the same thing, did an inspection, and the ATF said, hey, they did a great job. There are a couple things they did do. Now, they did transfer a firearm, I guess, to someone allegedly that the person had a Georgia handgun license, and they're in like North Dakota or something like that. And instead of, running the background check, they used that handgun license from the state that person was from and transferred the firearm. So they're using that as an excuse to shut them down. There was just one case, one situation. And instead of like saying, hey, let's use this as a teaching moment and say, hey, this is where you went wrong. Let's go ahead and correct this mistake. Instead of correcting it, doing that, they actually recommended that they revoke their license. So that gun store is shutting down. And the Gun Owners of America, GOA, is actually representing this organization, the Morehouse Enterprises. They're representing them in a lawsuit against the ATF and trying to stop that action there. So we'll see what happens. We're following that case as long as we're in other cases, as long as we're in our case as well. We're trying to follow all those cases and see what's going on. But Gary, you know what? We have a special guest here on the show today. Tell us about our special guest.
All right. Today we have the one and only singer, songwriter, podcaster, producer, engineer, bald Puerto Rican, been kicked off of Twitter 4 times, at least, that I know of, Peter Feliciano. Did I say that right?
You did. Thank you very much.
No, I know I did. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Oh, Feliciano, mira.
I want to be validated by a minority.
It's too late for that shit.
All right, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about your podcast, Conservatish. And also, can you let us know, just everybody, about how you even got into all this stuff? Because I realize, I know you're from New York, and I know a little bit about you. Your dad is a Grammy award-winning...
Grammy-nominated.
Grammy-nominated.
Horn arranger, yeah.
Horn arranger.
He's the Puerto Rican one.
You're horn arranger.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
No, but there's a
It's like
gay sexual joke in there that I didn't make because now I'm a mature adult.
Michael Cargill's here. We have to be respectful. We have to be respectful because he would pass us all up in horn arrangement.
Michael used to play the trombone.
Tuba, trumpet, and trombone.
Oh, really? I used to play alto sax back when I was like 7th, 8th grade.
Nobody is surprised that Cargill used to play the trombone.
You used to play the skin flute, right, Gary?
Oh.
Whoa.
That was a sex joke.
Oh, shots fired.
Got it.
So this is going to be one of those episodes. So let's just get into it, man.
We need
Tell
to
us
be
about yourself.
respectful, guys. We're talking about guns.
That's right.
We take it serious. So my name is Peter Feliciano. Yeah, I am a singer-songwriter, podcaster, producer. I've been doing music. I started writing songs professionally anyway, back in 2010, 2011. And then I started writing hooks for rappers around the country, mostly in the Bay Area. I was like the half Puerto Rican Nate Dogg. And then I released my first full album, self-titled Peter Feliciano, and that's on Spotify and iTunes back in 2019. I was living in the Bay Area. I was living in San Francisco. In 2019, essentially right before the pandemic, I moved to New York City. I literally signed my lease in Manhattan, and 2 days later, the city got shut down, lost my job. We were all going to die, blah, blah, blah.
Now, you were born...
I was born on Long Island.
But you were born in New York.
Yes, but
Okay.
I moved out to Cali when I was like 9 years
Okay,
old. So
cool.
I've been kind of bi-coastal. Get it? Bi. It was a sex joke, Michael.
Okay.
And so what happened was I moved to New York. It all got fucked up because of the pandemic. And then I hunkered down and I waited for New York to pull its head out of its ass. It never did, and it won't until I would say another 50 years. It has to get really shitty. It's still really shitty, but the rich tech nerds who are protected from the shittiness can still go, everything's fine. Oh, no, my world isn't burning. And they still have the money to afford that place. So they're going to stick around there. Anyway, back in July of last year, I moved to Austin, and I've already been making more music and more money at music, and been kicking ass in the podcast.
And you also shot an AR-15.
I also shot an
for the first
AR-15
time
with Central Texas Gun Works, and had a blast with that.
So
that was go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you tell us the story? I mean, Zach was the one that had you at the range, right?
He had me at the range.
I had him.
I was a sex joke.
That's another sex joke, Mike.
Are we taking numbers? We take it. I think I'm at 5 or 6.
I can put a counter in.
Is this like a drinking game or something? Every time there's a sex joke, we drink.
Mike has to drink. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I had Michael Cargill on Conservatish, my weekly show, Conservatish, and maybe about 2 months ago. And then afterwards, we just, started talking, and I wanted to kind of come over and support Central Texas Gun Works and learn how to shoot. Because again, I spent most of my life in New York and in San Francisco, so I don't know this gun life, very much at all. I've gone to a few ranges here in Austin since moving here, but that was essentially my first time. So I'm new to the life, but I'm very enthusiastic about it, and anybody who I can help kind of spread the message of the Second Amendment and our freedom are the people I want to fuck with. And specifically people like Michael Cargill. I know it sounds silly, but I spend most of my show trying to kill identity politics using identity politics. Because the thing that made the left crazy was white guilt. And so if I can use the fact that I'm a half spick, if I can keep my foot in the door, am I allowed to say that on the show?
You say whatever you want to say.
Well, thank you very much, sir. And I if I can keep my foot in the door in the conversation using the fact that I'm a person of color, then I'm going to do that. If I can use white guilt to make these people short circuit until at least the conversation gets into their ears, then I'll use whatever tools I need to. And so people like Michael Cargill, people like myself, people who don't fit the narrative are really where, I like to showcase the most on Conservatish.
Nice. I like that. Yeah. I like that.
And I've been pretty successful at it. I mean, I'm still shadow banned and censored to death.
Really?
I've gotten, I have 21.7 thousand followers on Instagram. Yesterday, I posted something at 8:15, 8:30, 24 hours later, 20 hours later, it's got 35 likes.
Jeez.
Now, something else I posted a week ago has, I think 20,000 likes. So who knows? But this is the game that I'm in. They like the arbitrary shadow banning, censoring. It's fun.
It's like keywords. There's keywords you say.
Well, it's not just keywords.
But if you're able to get a post with 20,000 likes, then you might not be as bad off as you think. Because our Facebook page, we had 10,000 followers,
and no matter what we
used to post, no matter what, dude, we used to get 100,000 views on a good video, and now we post something and 40 people see it. I mean, it's dramatic.
Now, but you guys, as shout out to Cody Wilson, who talked on the show about the black hole, I think you guys are worse off at the same time.
On Facebook.
That's what I'm saying.
I know it's all different. I think on
Facebook's
Instagram
also
too.
all boomers. Like they don't like plug into like the reels that you guys make. Do you guys make reels?
Yeah, but we don't post. I don't post anything really on Facebook. Well, I mean, our Instagram's connected to our Facebook, but like I said, anything we can post something on Instagram. And we've posted some stuff about like when Mike said we should ban school buses. We got probably 20,000 views on Instagram, but on Facebook we probably got like 10. I mean, but that's like an obvious where we have probably legal grounds to sue for discrimination because they've black holed us, and at this point I think it's beyond a reasonable doubt, right? Wouldn't you say?
You could be right.
Who's the quiet kid in the corner? What's this going to
Hey, so how did
the guy that taught you to shoot the AR?
Yeah, how did he do?
All right.
How did he do when he shot?
Yeah, how did I do when I shot? We took a video of it. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah,
it was also a Latin.
He shot
Latin
and
guy.
his aim was like boo 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 boo. And by the fifth shot, he was just shooting straight up into the air.
This is rude.
No.
This is not a true thing.
No, you did great.
Thank you
From
very
what I
much, sir.
remember.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's not a hard gun to shoot, right?
Well, especially, you know what?
Not like
I
that
thought it was going to
12
be
gauge.
more in depth. The 12 gauge was definitely beefier, more kick, but it also had a you don't call it a silencer. What is it called? A
suppressor.
A suppressor. It also had a suppressor on it. That was a badass. It was a lot of fun to shoot. I would say my weird experience was that I was only probably here to Gary away, and it felt like it kept floating up. Like that was a weird the distance. I know I'm
Yeah, that's
like
called
shit to all the gun
recoil.
motherfuckers. What?
That's recoil.
Is that what? Okay, all right.
I'm sorry. What'd you call it?
Recoil.
What did I call it?
Yeah, what'd you call it?
I don't know. It just kept floating up.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
We got a floater.
Listen, I'm doing my best.
No,
you
you're
guys
doing
are
good. You're
racist.
doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I want to get into this life, and I definitely whatever. And so to shoot that AR-15 was a fucking blast, man.
It's even more fun without the suppressor.
Really?
Big bang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just sounds like psh, psh, with the suppressor.
Right. I will say when I don't want to like get anybody away from going to Central Texas Gunworks for a safety class or whatever. But there were other people in the class with me, and I'm like kind of like I've shot guns before, you know what I mean? Like there's a couple people who are like, how do I hold it? And I'm like, well, at least I got one up on them, you know, whatever.
Did anybody say anything crazy in the class? Because I've been to obviously probably I don't know a dozen of Michael's classes, and I've heard some people ask some crazy shit.
No, I didn't hear anything crazy. I mean, you went through the very succinct. I mean, you also were on my show already before then, so I kind of knew some of the way you talk is very boom, 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 and then boom, 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 and then boom, boom, boom. And actually, another thing you're very succinct in the way you do your classes. I didn't really hear anybody kind of ask anything from what I remember. I don't know. You've done like 40.
Mike's the best, man. He's the best in the great state of Texas.
He's like a computer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a freak.
Yeah.
Now you say you moved. You say you were born in New York.
Yes, sir.
And you moved. Then you say you moved to New York. Where were you in
California?
between?
I was in Cali.
In Cali,
I was
what part of Cali?
San Francisco.
San
The
Fran.
Bay.
How was that? How was the homeless?
Okay. So okay, I haven't been in San Francisco since 2019. I have visited twice. And I still am trying to convince people to get the fuck out of California.
Right, yeah.
At the same time, it's kind of like being friends with an alcoholic. Like you have to just like, okay, whenever you're done, whenever you want to hit bottom. At a certain point, though, for me, I was sick of not being able to say what I want, to do what I want. California is a place that likes regulation. There's a certain type of people, mostly white liberals, who enjoy being told what the fuck to do, and that's what California is. And that's what New York City is turning into. New York City used to have a reputation that they were tough people, that they were like mind your business, they were da-da-da-da. All of those people have been priced out to the boroughs and beyond, or to Florida, or to Austin, or to fucking Alaska, I swear to God. And all the people who have moved into New York City are motherfuckers from Connecticut. Oh. Yeah, Connecticut white liberals who have been sheltered their entire life. They come in, they got tech money, they got tech jobs, and they feel unsafe in the big city. So what's going to make them feel unsafe in the big city? It's certainly not self-sovereignty. It's certainly not a motherfucking firearm. Big daddy government will do it. More regulation will do it. A big cloak, a big blanket of big daddy government's going to do it. And government cocksuckers like Eric Adams are happy to take that power and just say, thank you very much. And so that's why New York City is turning into San Francisco 2.0. Wow. If that answers your question.
Right.
And the rats have taken over, haven't they? In New York, in the city?
Yes, Eric Adams and people like him, yeah.
But actual rats.
No. Maybe. I don't know. What? I don't know.
Hasn't there always... Yeah, there's always been that
King
joke
rats
about
and
there
shit?
being a big rat problem in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
Is Spider-Man real?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need guns then.
No, he
That's
once
Spider-Man.
actually shot Webb into my face.
I don't think
I can take that several ways.
All right, well, we're going to...
I'm on the wrong show.
Hey, you know...
We definitely take that several ways.
Yes, sir.
That's another one for the counter. I'm going to have that counter in the bottom right corner of the
Yes,
show.
please.
We're at
Yeah,
like
yeah,
8
yeah.
already.
You're in
Yeah.
the gun store. It's all fair game. Let me tell you.
It's true. You guys go from like Cody Wilson, someone who knows what they're talking, to someone who's making fucking sling
Spider-Man's porn sex
cum
jokes.
right? Yeah, cum jokes.
So you never had any real like experience or knowledge of guns growing up. What was your viewpoint? Did you even think about it, or
No,
were
I
you
didn't
just
really think about
that
it.
ignorant? Really,
I was
of
that
it?
ignorant. See, this is. I think it made sense. So I'm 37 now. Prior, when I was in my 20s, I think it makes sense. I mean, if we raised the voting age to like 30, that would make a lot of fucking sense. But anyway, when I was in my 20s,
25. Because I think that your frontal cortex
26 frontal cortex.
As a man, at least, it develops at 26. Women's actually develop earlier, which I kind of find hard to believe.
Be careful. They'll be saying, "Hey, you can't have a gun till you're 26."
I never said gun. I said voting.
Okay,
but and I don't. And this is
that's a good point.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
Got to be careful.
A bunch of the founding fathers were under 21. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Back then it was different.
Why?
Because people weren't so sheltered. You know, by the time you were 21, you were a fucking man. You know what I mean?
This is true.
I think voting and there's a. Yeah, Mike's right. You got to be careful saying shit like that. He's right. That's why I'm the comedic relief here. Nothing I say is real. Nothing I say is serious. But I will say that there is a difference between being able to own a gun and shoot a gun safely and having proper training and being able to vote.
Right.
Well, I think owning a gun is way more important.
Yeah,
by far.
But here's the thing: for me, it's not the. So the reason why I brought up the 20s thing is because when I was in my 20s, I was just trying to keep a fucking job and get laid. I was apolitical. I assumed I was liberal because I just didn't know no better. I didn't pay any fucking attention. But really, I was just trying to live my life and get through it. At the same time, I wouldn't even mind if, like, obviously right now you can vote at 18. The problem I have is who has their ear. Does that make sense? Who had the 21-year-old founding father's ear back in the motherfucking day? It was people who were older, people who were experienced, people who knew how to grow potatoes and shoot motherfucking and blunderbusses and shit. The people who have the young kids' ears today is TikTok dances and black people. You know, it's those cocks. It's the Chinese. You know what I'm saying? It's the fuckers. It's the lizards. Who have those people's ear. So I don't have a problem with people thinking for themselves at 18, 19, 20, 21, but it does make a difference when, number one, the propaganda machine is as powerful as it has been for the last 10, 20, 40 years, and number two, when those of us who could influence the opposite are cut off from doing so. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know, this week we had, in Austin, Texas, we actually had the National Association of Counties. That's the National Association of Counties actually having their convention in Austin, Texas, and that's all around the country. So I actually had an opportunity to speak with different elected officials, and they actually have, these are all elected officials actually, but they're elected officials from, you know, all over the country here. And they came to Austin to check out Austin's homeless problem and how we're handling the homeless. It's like, man, you know, Austin, you guys are doing a great job in how you're handling this. And I was like, man, are you guys on crack? So what they're doing is they're showing them there's a little camp that they have in East Austin. It's like a little homeless mecca, I guess you want to call it, and where they have a homeless community. Where it's really nice. It's actually nice. They have a little different little homes and stuff like that, and they have a.
Are you talking through mobile? Are you talking about through mobile homes and loaves?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was
and
just
it's actually pretty nice.
Yes, yeah.
It's
I don't know.
Really nice.
I don't know what the process is that they use to decide who gets to live there.
Right.
But there are some rules, and you have to apply. And yeah, no, it is very nice. I agree.
But the problem is the majority of people don't want to live there because of the rules. And the process.
Yeah,
what are some of the rules?
I don't think you can do drugs and stuff like that. So, but you know, that's interesting because it brings up two other things that you and I have talked about at length for years. Right. Number one, that Home Depot at St. John's and 35 is finally being sold. The city's had it for at least 10 years, I believe. And they've never done anything with it.
Nothing with this. A Home Depot that sits on 19 acres. I forget how many acres.
I don't know the number.
It's quite big, and they've done nothing with this entire area here. Where they have the opportunity, they can build different stories to it.
Yeah, and you know what? And instead they were putting millions of dollars at putting homeless people up in hotels. Right. And it's not like they haven't heard the idea because I interviewed the mayor Adler years ago and mentioned it to him, and he goes, well.
They literally put put people in hotels across the highway from the Home
Depot. And now they're selling
literally
it.
across the highway.
So that was one major abject government failure at the local level. And you know what another one was? And this actually might have been at the state level with Governor Abbott. But you remember Camp Rat?
Right.
And what's his name? Rhodes? Michael Rhodes or whatever?
Yep.
We brought these guys on the show, and they had created their own camp for something. I don't remember what the acronym stood for, but it was
They
basically...
had their own little government for the homeless.
Dude,
so they had a little homeless camp. They set up their own little individual little government and had their own little community there, and then they set up all by themselves.
Yeah, and it was totally autonomous. They had their own like sort of security system set up. There were kids there. I toured the whole place. I walked in. I mean, I went and checked all of it out, and it was relatively safe from what I understood as well. And I believe they had a DPS trooper or two in and out. I mean, and guess what? And the homeless people all put their money together. They said, hey, we will pay a monthly rent to keep this place. They were even literally trying to like actually pay for the space. And of course, it got sold from out underneath them for less than what what the homeless people were even offering to a 501c3 charity. Yeah.
Really?
So another abject government failure.
Wow.
Again, in Austin. So, hey, tell me the fucking city council's not corrupt. Yeah. Tell me that.
Well, okay. All right. Well, let's mix in this, because that was the question I was going to ask. Ineptitude or malevolence? When it comes to that specifically.
Abso-fucking-lutely malevolent, dude. That is not... Dude, I'm not the smartest guy ever, but I know for a fact that if I was given the opportunity to be able to handle the homeless problem in Austin...
Right.
Literally, me, if I got to pick 5 people to help me fucking do it, I could at least do a better job than they're doing, and I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing.
Right. Right. Well, that's clear.
I got a story to tell you. So,
do it.
A couple of weeks ago, I was out with a friend of mine. He said, hey, come to this place. I'm not going to say where it is. He said, we're going to, bring the dogs out and we're going to have a good time, have a little park there, and we're going to play with the dogs. I'm like, okay, cool. So I bring the dogs out, we have a good time. And so I was messing around with another person's dog. I kind of like crouched down, pretending like I was going to attack the dog. Well, I really shouldn't have done that. It was really my fault. And so the dog nipped my hand, bit my hand, let me know, boom, don't do that, And I should have known better. It was totally my fault. And I can tell by the way the dog was looking that he didn't like what I was doing. And I should have known that. I knew deep down inside that he was going to do something, but I went ahead and, messed with him anyway. And so he kind of nipped at me a little bit and kind of bit my hand. So I went to the urgent care to get some antibiotics for it, just to make sure everything's okay, which everything was. And so about a week after that, because this was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, a week after that, I get someone came to my home from the city of Austin, dropped off a letter, knocked on the door, wanted to know if I want to file a report. And so, we ignored it. So they called. We ignored that, left messages. They called again. We ignored that, left messages. They came back to the house to see if I want to file a report. I'm like, no, we don't want to file a report. Then they called me, 4 more times. Yeah. Then they called the office here at the gun store. How they got this number, I don't know. They call the office, and they're like, hey, we need you to file a report on your dog bite. I'm like, look, it's not a big deal. It's okay. Everything's fine. There's nothing wrong, and, I don't know whose dog it was. It's not a big deal. Let's move on. I don't want to fill out a report. It's, there are other things that the city has to worry about. They threatened me. They said, look, if you don't fill out a report on this dog bite, we're going to charge you with obstruction.
What?
Yes. And I said, excuse me. I said, hold on. Whoa. I said, what Texas penal code are you quoting that you're going to charge me with obstruction? They said, and and she's like, I don't know. I was like, no, if you're going to threaten me on the phone, you're going to tell me, what penal code that you're threatening me with that you're going to charge me with obstruction. And so she said, hold on, I'll look it up. She took a couple seconds. She looked it up and she told me what it was. I said, okay, hold on. So I go through the entire penal code. And see, I go back and forth to the Capitol, and I actually pay attention to things like dogs, guns. There's things like that, I pay attention to. So I testify for these things, and I make sure specifically that we don't charge people with Class B or A or felony, for certain things. And so most things are only a Class C misdemeanor. So I said, hold on. As I looked through the entire thing, I said, okay, this thing is telling me that the onus is on the dog owner. So if the dog owner does not do A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, then you're going to charge the dog owner with a Class C misdemeanor. It doesn't say anything about the victim, and that the victim doesn't file a report. The victim doesn't do anything. So, and that's not how the state of Texas does anything. They don't go, and go toward the victim, so-called victim, allegedly victim, and charge them with a crime. So I said, you know what? I don't have anything to say. Don't call me again, and I'll see you in court. And I said, why don't you go to the, there's homeless problems we have around here. Why don't you handle the homeless problem? Why don't you take care of, and this is a city of Austin.
Wait. You're telling the city to actually take care of something important?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's just crazy. Why don't you, take care of someone's car got broken into, or, someone got robbed or something like that? Why don't you handle those situations? Don't worry about this, freaking dog bite that I don't want to report.
So, Michael, the city won't ever do anything unless it's easy. That's just the way that they operate.
Yes. So I also delineate, we were just asking ineptitude or malevolence. I also delineate between malevolence and greed. I know they both are very similar, but malevolence would be like a Klaus Schwab, right, who literally wants less people on the earth and likes to control people. He's a piece of shit. But then there's also just plain old ordinary greed, which can be lumped in with malevolence, you know what I'm saying? But it also is just like people who want a quick, easy take advantage and can do it, like you said, easy. It's a lot easier to say, you file something, Michael Cargill, versus, I have to talk to the smelly people.
Yeah, but forcing...
I have to try. I don't want to try.
Yeah, but dude, look, forcing a victim to do something is not ineptitude. No,
it's not.
Malevolent. That's a scam.
Absolutely.
In what world do we ever force, dude, this is a weird example, but women that get raped sometimes don't want to report it. And if you force a woman that's raped to report her rape, that is in itself a malevolent act. That's not your fucking call.
Right.
If
she doesn't want to get an exam, and you force her to get an exam, that's a double fucking rape. That's like
it's a double rape.
It's disgusting.
Well, I'm trying to think of an example with guns, but like if you're fucking like mugged in an alleyway at gunpoint and your wallet gets stolen and you're like, well, fuck, I got robbed, but I don't want to deal with the police and file a police report.
You shouldn't have to get in a fight on 6th Street, right? Are the cops going to come? No, you have to say no. The cops are almost always. So what do you think is the fulcrum there? What do you think
the
is
cops,
the difference
if you get in a fight on 6th
that?
Street, the cops will just arrest you. Trust me.
And there's a Texas law that says that, if your dog is away from its home and your dog is not, under your control and attacks someone, you could be charged with a felony. That's serious.
Really?
But you didn't even know who the dog owner was.
And if I knew, I wouldn't tell him anyway.
Adam boy.
Yeah, you know why?
This is Michael
you ain't no rat.
Cargill. God damn it.
It's just because it's not that serious. A small little bite. The person was embarrassed by the fact that it happened. I was embarrassed by the fact that it happened, and I'm not going to blame that person or the dog because I was actually messing with the dog. The dog was doing what it's supposed to do, was being a dog. Roof, and so things happen.
Yeah, Michael's not a rat. He's a dog.
Roof.
Hey.
Please make that a sound clip.
Ding. There's another. Now we're at 9.
Are you a furry? You can be honest with us. You can be honest with us.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, can you explain, please, Mr. Feliciano?
No. See, this is the influence I have on a respectful show. Like, come and talk it. I don't want to be that guy.
Peter, explain what a furry is.
So sometimes when a man loves a woman very much, it's certain people who like. Don't look. God damn it! Or when a human being or a two-spirit, whatever you feel, likes another person.
Wait, what did you say?
You never heard two-spirit?
No,
boy?
It's a Canadian one, isn't it?
Yeah. It's indigenous peoples. It's indigenous peoples because it's like trans, but like indigenous trans. You know
so,
what I mean?
if I identified as a Native American.
Yeah, kind of. Do this for me. I'm sorry. So furries So furries, sir,
cut off
are
for sure.
I know we're gonna get. This is why I shouldn't. You guys volunteered to have me on. Find me at Instagram, Peter_Feliciano. So furry is someone who likes to dress up in like a almost like you go to Disneyland and you see someone dressed up as Goofy or whatever the fuck. It's someone dressed up, but it's like they're having sex. It's like a quote unquote fetish, but it's not a real fetish. A real fetish is like someone who like really enjoys to do it. Furries are people who are Ren Fair people. You ever been to sex parties?
No.
You're no fucking fun. Have you ever been? You've been to. All right, I already know Michael. I already know Gary and Michael have been to sex.
Listen,
parties.
no comment.
Gary. So you've never been to
No, Zach has. Gary has.
So
Gary,
this was my experience.
I'm not making any comments.
Okay, well I'll be the fucking.
You're not even saying anything.
I'll be the.
I know for a fact. Nah, maybe not.
No, let's just continue.
Okay. I'll be the only honest one on the show then. I have been to sex parties. Back in the day, the way it used to work is like you go into, it's called the BDSM scene, right? The fetish scene, the kink scene, right? And these people are... okay, so normally you would hope that at least there'd be some attractive people in the room. Almost never was there attractive people. And this was even 10 years ago. It was already ruined long before woke. It's Ren Fair, motherfuckers. Renaissance Fair people. It's Renaissance Fair people who don't have fucking friends. They don't have a network. They don't have a community. And so they roam into these different communities, set up shop, take over, and then make it fucking ruined and then flutter on like a virus onto somewhere else. They did it with, they're doing it with, now they're trans. Right? Then they're Ren Fair people, and then they're really into Serenity, the TV show. This is all going over your head. But they're also, I'm going to dress up like, a furry. I'm going to dress up like, are you looking it up right now? I'm dressing up like an animal, like Goofy, and that's my fetish. It's not a fucking fetish. You're just a lonely white cunt. That's all.
And they make butt plugs that have tails that come out of them, right?
Yes. Yes.
How do you know this, Zach?
Don't ask.
You know what's funny?
He's wearing these jean shorts. I'm sorry. They're a bit of a giveaway.
The only reason I even have heard of what a furry is actually because of the Instagram algorithm. It sends me, given that I'm always looking for like weird people to interview, I get sent some of the weirdest shit on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
So like,
have
do you
you
guys remember
interviewed someone
Andrew
yet?
Callahan who did All Gas No Breaks, the interviews, the man on the street interviews, like what I do? So I used to follow all of his stuff. And until he like something happened to him. I don't remember what it was, but he went to a furry convention and interviewed them. That was the first time I had heard of it. And I was like, I think it's a mental illness, dude.
Oh yeah, I saw a
It
video
really-
of
it
him
really
at
is.
the Folsom Street Fair.
The what?
Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah.
Folsom Street Fair?
Bro, I'm from San Francisco.
With confidence.
Yeah, I know.
It's-
it.
With confidence.
Tell us
Yeah,
about
bro.
that.
You don't know what the fuck? Are you being serious?
Very
Well, the
serious.
video I saw was this guy that Gary's talking about, and he went up to the pee-pee pool at the Folsom Street Fair.
We're gonna start bringing drinks to this.
Mike, I'm sending you a
Ruining your
picture.
show. I'm sorry.
I'm sending you a picture of the furries. So look at your phone. Because I don't know if that's something I want to put up on the actual podcast.
Do I
so I'm
have to
just
look
going
at
send
this
it to you.
picture?
Well, you need to know what it is.
No one's naked though, right? It's just someone in a suit. That's all.
They're more than fully clothed.
They're more. Yeah, they're doubly 15. They're sweating through their suit.
Oh, jeez.
Imagine, it's like suits except animal fur.
Okay. Got some breaking news coming out of Montana. Dozens of people were injured after a patio collapsed during an event at a southern Montana country club. Collapse happened at the Briarwood County Country Club in Billings, Montana on Saturday night last night. So
Michael reminds me of my dad because
Hey,
whenever
yeah.
we're talking
I'm
about
like,
something we
changing the
shouldn't be
subject.
at the dinner table,
We're
Subject change.
totally changes the
Yeah,
subject.
yeah, Michael.
Fuck yeah.
Michael, the show's not live anymore. You can't give
can't
breaking
say that?
news. No, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't come out for 3
God.
days. But you know, yeah, like when we're in a good flow state like that, make sure you just yell
Oh, my
breaking
God.
news.
oh my God. Yeah.
You know what? Never mind
Okay.
the Folsom
I
Street
didn't get-
Fair
I-
talk.
hey, I
I
didn't
want to
get the
hear
picture.
about Montana, a patio in Montana.
Oh.
Yeah, hey, what's more interesting? We're talking about guns and people who dress up like animals and fuck each other, or do we want to talk about a patio in Montana?
Let's talk about guns.
Okay.
Speaking of guns,
Yes, sir.
on
A
6th Street.
patio in Montana.
You hear about 6th Street night before last, Gary?
Was there another shooting?
No, I did not. What happened?
Yeah, you didn't hear?
No.
The 512 bar on 6th Street. You heard that bar? 512? 512 bar, 6th Street, Austin, Texas. All right, so some idiot was inside the bar, had a gun in his pocket, and accidentally pulled the trigger, fired it, and it ricocheted, off the ground and shot 2 other people.
Whoa, wow.
2 other people.
Yeah, miracle bullet. Yeah.
Okay, is there a story on this that we can pull up?
Oh yeah. It actually, yeah. So the reason I know about it is because they quoted me when I was talking about the.
Were there any? Did anybody fall off a patio or anything?
No one fell off the patio, but it goes back to the guns and bars and stuff that we're talking about. Yeah, and so they were quoting that they referred back to the story we were talking about guns and bars in 2022, and how most of the bars on 6th Street, guns are actually legal in the bars because they changed their liquor license from a bar to a restaurant. And so, let's go back to the furries.
Well, what's the I thought the law was changing back at the bars. You can you can or can't carry guns
TABC,
anymore.
what they're doing now is so back in 2020, in like March of 2020, the Texas shut down the bars. They said, hey, bars, if you want to open for business because of COVID, COVID-19, they shut everything down. If you want to open for business, you have to start serving food. You have to change your liquor license from a bar to a restaurant and serve food in order to open. So when they changed their liquor license from a bar to a restaurant, that changed their gun status. A bar, you cannot take any handguns, no rifles, no shotguns, no knives inside the bar. But a restaurant, you can take your guns inside of a bar. You can take any size knife inside of a bar. So that started.
You can bring
inside a restaurant. Sorry.
So if I had a ninja katana, I could take that into a restaurant?
In a restaurant. Legally, yeah. And so it's up to the restaurant. It's up to the restaurant to say, hey, I don't want you to bring that in here. You need to leave. It becomes trespassing, criminal trespassing.
Okay.
Definitely bring it to a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. So
Japanese. Well, quick question, clarifying question. Does the license change that?
It does, actually. So if you want to get your LTC, then you go into a restaurant and you drink. You can actually be at least 0.08 with a license and carry a gun.
0.08?
You got to be at least below 0.08.
I thought it was lower than that.
0.08.
That's the legal.
You're going to
limit in
challenge
Texas.
Michael fucking Cargill on.
Well, look, the reason I ask any questions is because I know there's somebody watching that is thinking the same thing. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah, so you got to at least be
It's the legal drunk driving limit.
That's correct. You got to be below 0.08, and then with an LTC, then you can actually have a gun, and as long as you're not intoxicated, you can have a gun, and you can have alcohol in your system.
It wasn't always that way.
Was not. It was actually
September 1st, 2021.
Correct. Right? On September 1st, 2021. Prior to that, it was the opposite way. So prior to that, if you had your license,
you couldn't.
You cannot be intoxicated at all.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Yeah, see, I'm not fucking crazy.
No, you're not.
I knew it changed. I knew it changed.
And then after September 1st, 2021, it flipped.
Right.
And they said, hey, if you have a license, as long as you're below 0.08, you're okay.
And that's a good law.
Without the license, you cannot be intoxicated at all.
Right.
No alcohol in your system whatsoever.
Which makes more sense that way. It's good that they changed that.
I've never heard that phrase. That's a good law. So, because that seems. Here's a question, Michael Cargill.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like there are good laws? I mean, obviously, you are very good and very fastidious about attention to the law. Do you wish somewhere in there that none of that shit was shit you had to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
When I say that that's a good law, I mean at least it's a good for sure a good change in the law.
Makes more sense. Right.
Makes more sense. But I'm not big on laws and whatnot. But I definitely think that unless you're on private property, if you're in public and you're drunk and you're carrying a gun, that's not okay.
So when this shooting happened on Saturday, Saturday morning at the 512 bar, I immediately went to the TABC's website. So I pulled up their website and I pulled up their liquor license. And they're actually a restaurant. They're not a bar. So the question goes, the person that discharged the firearm, were they an LTC holder? If they were an LTC holder, it goes to, deadly conduct, no gun charge. If they're not an LTC holder, they're just, they're carrying on the Constitution. It goes to they're going to have a gun charge, Class A misdemeanor, and they're going to have a deadly conduct charge.
Are there any updates or information about who was the one carrying the pistol?
No. No.
Were they injured or dead?
I don't think the person that pulled the trigger was injured.
But there were
Two adults had
Maybe
minor
well,
injuries
you know what?
from the incident.
Yeah, maybe the person that pulled the trigger and maybe someone else.
Do we know what kind of pistol it was? Just curious.
No, they,
Just a second,
they
whoa, whoa,
never
whoa.
say. They never
Wait,
say.
it says 2 adults had minor injuries from the incident, but the injuries were likely not the result of a direct bullet impact.
So maybe not the person that pulled the trigger.
Interesting.
Right.
Well,
Right.
what if it was the person who pulled the trigger? It's in their pocket. Bullet ricochets, hits a beer bottle.
No, most likely it hit the ground and then ricocheted and hit someone. Pieces broke apart.
Yeah, but
if
you
a
said it
gun-
wasn't the result of the gun.
If a gun
That's what
goes
you-
off,
is that
then
not
the
what you just said?
blast is going to hurt you.
Yeah, but what? Hold on. What?
It
You
was
just- you just-
direct bullet
that's a possibility.
impact.
Could be
Yeah,
just-
but
Explosion that comes out, even if the bullet doesn't hit you,
That's-
it's going to
but
leave a
you just said
mark
that it
on
wasn't a direct result of the gunshot. Didn't you just say that?
direct bullet. So not the bullet itself, but maybe the pressure could be the pressure from the gun discharging, and it could be the ricochet or shrapnel or something like that. So that's a possibility.
Oh, shrapnel's not considered a direct. That's still
Yeah.
okay. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but if that's the way they
Hey, if it changes the charges, I don't know.
Yeah, when a bullet hits a hard surface like a concrete floor,
and it splits.
it basically just
Breaks up in pieces.
But that's no longer considered a direct.
Now, your thoughts as Mr. Michael Cargill,
Right.
do you look at something like that and think, guy's an idiot? Do you
Yeah,
think?
absolutely. Because one, that tells me that they probably didn't have it in a holster. One, they're messing with it in their pocket. One, they had the finger on the trigger.
Safety.
There's a couple things.
Well,
there
not
that's
to
going
mention the fact that although it is a technicality and it's considered a restaurant on their TABC,
Correct.
It is a bar, and that person carried a gun into a bar, and
That's a restaurant.
That's a bar. That's a restaurant. That's a bar. But that is,
Irresponsible.
irresponsible.
Yeah.
Yes.
well, it's a
Thank you.
restaurant.
It's a restaurant. It's a bar. That's a restaurant. That's a
and
bar.
They
It's a
actually,
restaurant.
and the way the title reads is 2 injured after a gun goes off. We call that a negligent discharge. That's negligence.
Irresponsible, negligent.
Absolutely. All right. So
Is there any more patio news?
patio.
Yeah, like
do you mean?
if any more patios in Montana have collapsed?
Oh no, just the one.
Shout out to the victims.
Peace out. Hope everything works out for you.
We are the world.
God forgives.
Okay,
We
so
are the children.
I do have a good question here for you, Mr. Feliciano.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, Feliciano. There was another sex joke. Dang, we're in double digits now, baby. All right. How do we use entertainment mediums like music to help 2A, given the recent censorship of Jason Aldean's song, Try That in a Small Town? Ooh, looks like Daddy did his homework, Peter.
How do we do it?
Well, the reason I ask is because you are a singer-songwriter.
I am.
Yada, yada, yada. And I think you'd have a better take on this than any of us here in the room, because we're all just
I trust
normal
you.
people, non-creatives.
Right. I'm debasing myself to come around you. Here's the thing. I'm white-pilled as fuck when it comes to many things. And you understand, I had to explain it to him yesterday. You know what white-pilled means. White-pilled means superior pill. No, I'm just kidding. Ah!
If it's white, it's right.
Yeah, God damn it. No. So the black pill is everything's fucked. We're all doomed. Doesn't matter. Why even try? Blah, blah, blah. White pill is the opposite. It's essentially, yeah, shit sucks, but eventually it will inevitably and inexorably get better. Things eventually, there's bright, even if it takes decades, it still will get better. I'm white pilled around a lot of different things in our current political climate. And I also lean on the idea that politics is downstream from culture. And nobody progressive is cool or liked. Let's be fucking clear. Does anybody, even dirtbag liberal leftists, enjoy Joy Behar? No. No. Does anybody even a little bit like it's only the apolitical liberals who go to Barbie, right, and think like, well, I had a good time, right?
What is with this Barbie stuff? I'm missing something.
There's a movie called Barbie that
There's a
just
movie.
came
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
What is this
Michael's so manly, he doesn't even relate.
Yeah, you know,
What's a Barbie?
of all people that I would expect to know about Barbie, you'd be the one.
Don't know. So I was driving on the interstate and I saw the DOT sign that says even Barbie wears a seatbelt. or something to that effect.
Is that even true? Are there seatbelts in those little Barbie cars?
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know.
Liars. They're lying
So
to
what
us.
is up with Barbie? What is this about?
It's just some gay movie that's probably just chock full of feminist propaganda, and I'm absolutely going to use it to get laid.
I didn't say that.
So
I didn't say that. That didn't come from me.
So it's similar things. I'll go back to that idea. What I'm saying is, I trust humanity, and humanity at a certain point doesn't even just fucking consciously like the fact that there is a dearth of entertainment, of authenticity in our fucking music, in our creativity, in our whatever, and eventually we get tired of putting up with what they serve us. That's why Jimmy Kimmel is failing. That's why people like Joe Rogan, whatever, are succeeding, because we, the people, are looking elsewhere just intrinsically, naturally, because we're unsatisfied with the level of fucking shit-fuck entertainment that they're giving us. So how to use music and comedy and art in the way we're doing it to help the Second Amendment, to help freedom in general, is just to be fucking cool. And that's why I come in here and I talk about furries, because I think... And I know that I'm being facetious, but I'm not really being facetious, because we need to bring the world together. I know fucking cocksucker over here is taking pictures of his fucking... I'm making a good point over here, Gary.
I'm trying to get a cool picture for social media, man. No, I'm listening.
Selfie.
We got to be cool.
I understand.
I get it.
But that's exactly...
No, you know what's
I'm
funny?
saying-
I was
Yes,
actually listening.
Oh, okay.
I was just taking a picture so
What
that I
did he say?
tag all of us.
I can't stay mad at you, Gary.
Nobody's ever been mad at me in my life.
I just look at that mustache for 5 seconds and I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah.
I'm just distracted.
Imagine how many...
Barbies?
No, you know what, dude?
Oh.
We're going to be serious. Let's keep talking about this.
Okay.
Sorry, I almost
So
just took us down a
how-
rabbit hole.
Well, the how you're asking about is kind of a very open-ended question, but I'll just say consistency. And so like I put out a song 6 weeks
You know what?
ago.
Let me put a caveat in there.
Thank you.
Because now that you're saying how, I realized that my question was too broad, and now I really let me curate it. I think what I'm actually curious of is how do we make it cool? Because anytime I hear people doing conservative rap or something along those lines, it's usually trash.
Yes.
And I don't really enjoy it. Now, people like us,
You mean Tom McDonald or whatever that fucking turd's name is? God bless you. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Are you
But
talking about the white guy? The white dude with all the tattoos?
yes, God bless him. I'm
He's-
happy he's doing what he's doing.
I was gonna say,
but
of
I
all-
don't give a fuck
Of all
about
the
any
people that are putting out any sort of politically right or center of right music, I actually think he's not really that bad. But there's
Not
others.
bad.
Okay. Talking a piano player?
What?
No. Piano player. Tom
He's a
McDonald
rapper.
is a rapper.
Oh.
He's a white dude. He's covered in tattoos all over his face. He looks like kind of like my dad.
Here's okay. I always go back to this analogy. The difference between Jon Stewart and Trevor Noah. Jon Stewart, as leftist as he was
cool.
Was cool. He
Yeah.
was popular. And the reason why
Trevor
people-
Noah's a loser.
Nobody fucking likes Trevor Noah. Even the couple of Upper West Side motherfuckers
He's a dweeb.
who kept that stupid show alive for for 5 years longer than it should.
It's gone now, right?
Thank
Hopefully.
God it's gone.
So the show's gone?
It's gone.
Oh, okay.
Praise Jesus. Here's the difference. Jon Stewart, as leftist as he was, valued art above message. Art above message. It must be funny regardless of the message underneath. Otherwise, we fucking get bored, humans intrinsically.
Too on the nose.
We smell lecture. Trevor Noah was the exact opposite.
He was a
Trevor
lecturer.
Noah was a lecturer.
Chastising
who
us.
makes believe, who
Preaching.
who uses the rhythm of comedy without any... Because you cannot have genuine authenticity or inspiration because you need freedom to be artistic. You need a freedom. You can't be freedom in today's liberal climate because someone might say the wrong thing or I need to apologize. It's boring intrinsically to people, and that's why we're looking elsewhere. So the way to make it cool, or the way is to value art above message. Now, I'm happy that Tom McDonald does his shit, whatever, but
Well, you clearly don't like what he does.
well, it doesn't ring a fucking bell at all for me. I'd rather, but it's the same thing as who's an example? Tribe Called Quest. Tribe Called Quest was good, but it didn't ring a fucking bell for me. Why do I value Mobb Deep? You know who Mobb Deep is? You know who Mobb Deep is.
Sounds familiar.
Okay, thank you. Finally.
Well, that sounds like
Black man around.
something that black people would know about, not me.
Yes.
I'm just
yes.
nodding yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I get back to Jason Aldean. God bless Jason Aldean too. But here's what I'm saying. Mobb Deep, even though they were less...
Dude, you kind of look like Jason Aldean. Put that cowboy hat on real quick.
All right, hang on. Try that in a small town.
Oh god.
Dancing monkey.
Oh goodness.
I'm very tired right now.
We're gonna be in so much trouble.
Nah, our viewers
Sorry,
will
Michael.
love this.
I swear to God.
Try that in
We
small
need to have
town.
you back on the show too.
What is up with this? What is up with the small town song? Why is it?
I don't even know.
White liberals
why
are
people so
white
bothered
liberals
by
are
it?
horrible human beings.
Yeah, but you know, hold on,
if you want
hold
to
on.
boil it down to the root.
Normally, I also would agree that it's the white liberal, usually women.
But it's not.
Not this time. I don't
No,
think it
it's
is.
not.
It's a lot of black people. It's weird. I don't know.
It's like, you don't even listen to country music.
Define a lot. Is it the motherfuckers that they're putting up on TV? Because there's only 5 of those cocksuckers, and they keep propping those up. So a lot?
On
Word on the street? Do you think
No.
Michael Cargill gives a fuck? Do you think black people in Austin? There's only 5, but
I think
do you think they
CMT
care?
should be ashamed of themselves for bending the knee. They should never bend the knee, and they never should have pulled that because the people that are complaining about this are not their supporters.
and you know what else?
You should never bend
It's
the knee.
very similar to the Bud Light thing. But you know what
Yes.
else? You know who
Yes.
the one that's taking credit for doing this is?
Right.
A little lady that's got all of us blocked who's
Shannon
a
Watts.
complete bitch. Shannon Watts.
Yeah.
And I'll
Who's
say
Shannon-
that
and it's
time
Shannon
and
Watts.
time and time
Who
again.
doesn't even listen to it?
She's the leader of the Moms Demand Action anti-gun organization, and she won't even fucking talk to us. We've tried talking to her time and time and time again. You know
White
what?
girl?
What do you fucking think, dude?
I like dunking on these motherfuckers. Look, by the way, bitch, if you're watching right now, person of color, didn't you post a black square saying, just listen to black people, shut up, white people? Now we're talking right now, bitch. Now we're right in your fucking face. Just say you don't care about black people. Just say it. Just be honest. That's all I want. Just say you're a racist. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, hey, if we didn't get anything else accomplished today, we just got probably my favorite clip we've ever had. Right there. What do you have to say to Shannon Watts, Michael?
Man, I don't know.
You're much more succinct and much more. Yeah, I shoot from the hip. And
Yeah, hey, you know what? Let me say this real quick so I can clip this in right after what you just said. Shannon, anytime you want to come to Central Texas Gunworks, no, wait, we got to say, Shannon, anytime you want to come to CTGW and have a conversation about anything on your terms, let us know. You can come in anytime. Open invitation.
I'll stay away. But okay, so the Jason Aldean thing, by the way, you're talking about CMT.
Hey, wait, hold on.
right.
Can you, before we go into that, can you explain because I'm as in the dark with Michael as this. Can you explain what people are even upset about? Because I don't even
It's a song.
It's a song.
Right.
It's essentially, the song is about like the 2020 BLM riots.
Yeah, what he said was, burn a flag, piss on a Bible, come to a small town, we'll kick your ass. Something
Essentially,
like that.
yeah, no.
Right.
Well done, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
more
you.
than just a shooting guns guy.
Hey, you're more than just eye candy over there in the
Right.
corner, dude.
With those damn jean shorts distracting me all day.
Yeah, he basically said that, and then he recorded this music video in front of a courthouse, and they're saying he recorded the music video in front of a courthouse where there was a lynching in 1912.
In 1912.
Yeah.
Every courthouse in this country, there's a lynching.
What?
Name me a courthouse. Name me a capital
Dude.
that wasn't a lynching.
You can't give any quarter with these people. That's insane. That's crazy. That's over 100 years ago.
Right. But
None.
But here's the thing. CMT, I believe it was the CMT Awards,
It was.
had a bunch of transes on the last show. Now, I know trans people, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm not saying all trans people are the devil, but I'm saying you already don't care. CMT already sold their ass in order to get that advertising dollar, in order to get that George Soros, Klaus Schwab, in order to get that Larry
BlackRock money.
Thank you. That BlackRock money, that ESG cash, they already sold the rest. They don't care if we're unhappy with what they provide us. That's why we're looking to alternative media like Come and Talk It. That's why we're looking to alternative media like Conservatish. We are unhappy and we're finding it elsewhere. But that's the thing, is that at this point, it doesn't really matter.
So is it time to make this shift to do what we did to the telephone company and make him a public,
Utility.
a public utility? Yeah. So that's a thought.
Okay, but a public utility means it's now under government jurisdiction, and I don't like anything that they do.
I would agree with that. I think that we should just use the Sherman antitrust laws to break those monopolies apart, because it is the public square, but I don't think it's a public utility.
It's a private company.
So you want to use the government to do
Facebook,
that?
Yeah, Facebook is a private company.
No, hold on.
Is it a private company?
No, it's publicly traded.
You don't want to use the government, but you want to use the government.
It's publicly traded.
Even worse. Yeah,
Michael,
Facebook.
Facebook Meta is no longer what you could just say private company. Central Texas Gun
Stockholders.
CTGW,
Right. Stockholders.
private company.
Correct.
more than stockholders.
We don't have. Hold on. We don't have control over the public square.
So buy stock and then change it.
No. That's a simple no. That's easy. I'll just say no. I will use my voice to tell people that we need to use Sherman antitrust laws to split up these monopolies, because those laws were created for a reason and they're not being utilized.
But here's another pertinent point. It's not an actual private company. FBI has had their hand up Mark Zuckerberg's ass for years.
Yeah,
so it's already very government.
Like the telephone
entrenched.
company.
Like the telephone company. So in
I
order
understand
to
what you're
communicate,
saying. I just
that's why I'm doing no ad dollar day.
I just don't think that making it a public utility is the right idea. I understand the
You may not
comparison.
want to do it, but it's already there. I mean, you're talking there. It's going the same route. It's going to where it's second nature. Everyone uses it. You have to use it. It's
right.
I mean, even in school, you need to use the internet to do school. 2020, when COVID happened, everything was shut down. People had to get on the internet, had to get on the school bus to use the Wi-Fi to get on the internet to do school. It's already there.
But what you're saying is you want the internet to be a public utility, and the service providers, which are the apps and the platforms, those are what need to be split up.
I'm just asking. I'm asking.
No, I think what you're saying makes sense. I'm giving you an answer, boomer.
Hey, but you know what? I heard something about downtown Austin. You would think we're being bugged or something, but actually I got a text message that 512 bar, it was an employee.
No
yes,
way.
I literally just got a text message. They're saying it was an employee whose gun went off, and that makes sense when you read the news story. The manager, or the owner of the bar is like, it was a person inside the bar. Their gun accidentally went off. How do you know that? And like, because it was a freaking employee. That's how they know that.
He probably got it in his sweatpants, all knocking around, no
Yeah.
safety.
Is an employee.
That's sloppy behavior.
Yeah, and it goes to and it's just crazy. I'm curious. Did this employee have a license to carry a handgun? Have they taken a course? Were they constitutionally carrying? Were they intoxicated at the time? I'm curious. All this stuff.
Well, if it's at did it say anything about if it was like a employee behind the bar or anything like that?
Well, it's a restaurant. So 512, they have a restaurant license according to TABC.
Well, it's a bar that's a restaurant.
So it's a restaurant.
Bar.
So that's fine because they're a restaurant.
I know, but what I'm saying is that was the. If it
was a bar, only the owner or the manager one at a time can have a gun inside the bar.
But if it was, I'm asking, was it like a server or a bartender? Because if it's a bartender, we could probably assume that they probably had been drinking, because every bartender, drinks with not every, but most of them drink with their customers.
This may sound like a dumb question, but is it illegal to not have it in a holster?
If it's concealed, you're okay. If it's in the open, then it has to be in a holster.
So if you're concealing it in your pocket, it's technically not illegal. Like you can Mexican carry a pistol in your belt.
Right.
That's legal, right, Michael?
Concealed.
I used to do that all the time, and then I got a holster because that's irresponsible, Peter. And guess what I am?
Nice word.
I used to be an irresponsible gun owner, and now I'm not, because Michael told me I was an idiot and made me change what I was doing.
I guarantee you this person had it in their pocket without a holster.
And no safety on either, right?
Yeah. And around the chamber. The finger on the trigger.
Dude,
very bad habit.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
That's dumber. That's dumber than anything I've ever done.
That's why one of the first things we talk about in class, index the side of the gun, grip the handle, pick it up.
Yep.
Index the side of the gun. The first thing you touch the gun is your index finger. The last thing comes off your index finger. That's why we talk about that all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of people still, when they go to pick up a gun, they don't index it first. They'll go and grab it it's crazy to me.
But people think about that once they finish our class. I get down to the 15-yard line, and I just say, all right, pick up your gun. And people are like,
bing.
Right.
Now, you used to do that thing where you would tell that story about I don't want to give away what you talk about in class, but I think anybody watching this probably already knows. But you used to play that video of the van pulling up and the people getting out and grabbing that girl and throwing them in the van.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and so
everyone's like, shoot them all, let God sort them out.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's the video of essentially 45 minutes an hour into the class, Michael, 10 times over has said, make sure you know what's going on before you pull the trigger. Make sure there's nobody behind who you're shooting. He call the police first, yada, yada, yada. He says the same thing 10 times. And almost every class I've ever sat in on, he plays this video of a van pulling up and a man and a woman getting out, running around the side of the van and grabbing this young girl and throwing her back into the van. And he'll say, so what do you do in this situation? And almost every time somebody's like, shoot the engine, shoot out the tires. I'd shoot that guy in the head 3 times. Turns out it was a mother and a father picking up their runaway child. So basically, these people just assumed it was a kidnapping and just murdered a family. So it's just an interesting...
The funny part is when you get them out to the range, you get them out to the gun range, and they're shooting. I get them back to the 7-yard line, have them shoot, and then we get back to the 15. I'm looking at a target. I walk up behind him. I said, you remember that video we talked about in class? The Target parking lot? Don't ever pull your gun out.
Ever.
Because they're all outside,
outside
they're in the white
middle,
area of the target instead of hitting the blue guy. Like that target right there, instead of hitting the blue guy, they're hitting the white area of the target. Don't ever pull your gun out.
Hey, I got a question for you real quick. What demographic shoots the worst?
Oh, Lord. I'm not going to answer that question.
I think I could probably guess who it is.
Who, Gary?
Can I take a wild shot in the dark?
I do not know, Gary. Tell me, Gary, because I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm just going to go ahead and say
I don't know.
Overweight women probably shoot the worst.
I don't know. Women actually shoot better than men.
No, not. I know, actually, weirdly.
Yeah. Women shoot better than men because women actually listen.
All right, we're ending the show. Women listen?
Women listen.
What do you know about women? How many women do you even talk to?
Women listen. Men do not.
Hang on. Let's add context. He means in the lesson.
In the lesson.
In the education.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially when it comes to guns and where there's machismo in the air.
Yeah, because they're scared.
I don't want to pay attention. I'm big dick fucking whatever, and I already know how to shoot a gun.
I'll do whatever I want.
Girls are like, I'm scared, I'm intimidated. Let me listen to Michael.
Women can multitask.
So you're telling me that I need to make sure that anytime I want a woman to listen, I need to scare them first.
Okay. Sounds good.
No, I actually know, I would agree. I know a handful of women that shoot, and they're all actually very good shots, but I very specifically said overweight women. You got nothing to say to that because I think you know I'm right.
I disagree.
Who is it?
I disagree.
Who's the worst shot then?
I'm not going to say.
Yeah, I see, then I have a hard time thinking you actually disagree with me.
Disagree with you. I disagree. I 100% disagree with you. And I'm not going to say.
Okay. All right. Well, that went somewhere.
Well, I think we can put a pin on this and talk about it after the show.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Anyways, back to guns. Actually, hey, Mike, can you do me a favor and look up Montana patios?
Oh, man.
Breaking news.
No. All right. So tell us where we can find your podcast and everything.
Yes, sir. So my name is Peter Feliciano. My podcast is called Conservatish. You can support, you can go find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. I have 21.7 thousand followers, so that means I'm famous. And I've earned them, by the way, you motherfuckers who buy followers. And I am also on Twitter at Rule62Peter. And I also have a backup account at Conservatish. And my music and my podcasts are all available online on Spotify, on iTunes, and on YouTube. So go do that, or you're racist.
Nice. You know, I'm really worried about what the ATF is doing, and you guys should be worried also. The fact that the ATF is actually, you know, they've upped their revocations by 500% in shutting down gun stores, mom and pop gun stores. And what worries me the most is the fact that they're checking everything before they walk in the door of a gun store. They're checking TABC, whatever. They're checking any and everything they possibly can check every different little state agency, you know, government, federal agency, to make sure that you're in compliance before they walk in the gun store, to check every single piece of paper that you actually have. And they're trying anywhere they possibly can to shut down the different gun stores. So, you know, we're in a fight. We're in a fight for our life right now. And we're going to need some help, because it took a lot for me to fight them off this time. You know, they walked to the gun store unannounced. I had to have 3 attorneys present, you know, when they sat down with me and had a 3-hour meeting discussing, you know, our gun store and what was going on here. And it actually concerned me. It worried me a lot, because they're coming out swinging hard. You know, they're digging, they're prying. The emails, I can't tell you some things right now, but I'll tell you this. You know, I did receive some emails from the ATF, and they said one thing in the email message, but then when you do when you look at the screenshot of what they sent you, it was a different date on the screenshot. We'll talk about that stuff later. Okay, they're digging hard. They're trying everything they possibly can to shut down the different mom and pop gun stores. And we were in a fight for our life to stay alive this time. We made it through, and we survived, you know, because, you know, we try to do everything right. We try to dot our I's and cross our T's. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had 3 attorneys backing me up in this situation, you know, I could have been one of those gun stores that was shut down and had their license revoked. So pay attention to what's going on. You know, we've lost half of our gun stores here in Austin, Texas. Let me say that again. We have lost half of the gun stores in Austin, Texas. We just lost a gun range here in South Austin. Bentley's, they're shut down. They're gone. Without a word. So pay attention to what's going on, because your gun stores are disappearing and they're shutting them down. As always, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill. Hey, it's really important that you help us right now. We're in a fight for our life. So please share, subscribe, like, Come and Talk It.